Yeah. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Touchdown Talk podcast, the number one show for all things sports. I am your host, Ryan. I'm here with Tony this week, and Evan is not going to be joining us this week. He is away on work, and the Super Bowl happened over the weekend. The Patriots went to the Super Bowl, a historic season for them, only a couple years removed from Tom Brady leaving and a steep fall off. They made it back to the promised land, and they completely shit the bed and got throttled by the Seahawks and their dominant, historic defense. Completely dookied on. The score ended up being a little bit closer than you might have thought, but a defensive touchdown for the Seahawks helped them get the win there, along with a huge performance from Kenneth Walker, who did not score, but had 135 rushing yards, and then I believe, 20-something receiving yards. So huge performance from him to put them over the top. And the Pats fall. Tony is depressed.
Yes,
But
very much so.
He's still got the hat on, though.
I do. I probably should take it off, at least for today. I'm not gonna burn it or anything, but should probably keep it off for now. But yeah, just shitty weekend, man. I put a lot of money on the Patriots to win, and they
You can
crushed
see
my hopes and dreams. Yes,
$500.
and
$500.
as soon as I saw that Drake put in the $1 million bet for the Patriots, right after I put mine in, I was like, a part of me was like, oh shit, I think I'm fucked. But no, that was.
You're not trying to tail Drake's bets these days. That's not. He doesn't have
No,
good luck when it
you're
comes to
really
Super
not.
Bowls.
He does not. He really doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really pissed. Like I told you before the show, I'm not really pissed anymore. I'm more of like in that depressed phase. I will say this. I do think it was a impressive season. Don't get me wrong, but I think people online and especially New England fans need to chill out a little bit on the I don't even know what it's called, what I would say. I guess overhype. Um you should definitely be excited for the future, and it's nice having a young quarterback in Drake May. But there's no guarantees in this league, and I would rather see my team capitalize on these opportunities than fall short and then just go into next season and expect, oh, well, we'll be back next year. Because I see that time and time again where teams make it, their team is nasty, even better than the Pats, they still lose it, and then you hear everyone say, oh, they'll be back next year, and it more often than not just does not happen. We were in a dynasty for 20 years and had the greatest coach and greatest quarterback of all time, which is why we were in the Super Bowl every other year. That's not going to happen again, to be frankly honest with you, even with Drake May and Mike Vrabel. It could realistically be 5 years before they make it back, or fuck, I mean, I hope it's not going to be longer, but that's a possibility, and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even teams that don't make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, I just think about the Lions a couple of years ago being like, hey, they have a window, and losing in the NFC Championship game, and then Dan Campbell's like, hey, that might have been the best chance that we have had or will have, because it's only going to get harder. So yeah, I mean, literally, you look at the Pats and okay, there's a whole offseason where teams are going to be studying Drake May's film. They're going to be preparing for the Pats and just knowing things differently. And, who knows what happens with injuries next season. You absolutely, like you said, there's no guarantees. You never know what's going to happen. Of course, I mean, as a Giants fan, I'd rather my team make it to the Super Bowl and lose than have the number one or have the number 2, 3 overall draft pick and be a laughing stock of the league. So there's that. And obviously, like, when you lose, you're gonna try to find the positive in it. Even as a fan of a bad team, I'm like, okay, well, we have, this player that's really good, or we have this going next year, young players or whatever. And Drake May is 23, dude. He is literally in contention for MVP at 23. So you got to feel pretty good, at least knowing that, there's teams out there that literally cannot find a franchise quarterback year after year. The Browns, they just can't find anybody. The Jets can never find a quarterback. So you know that you have that piece, which is arguably the most important piece of your whole team. He's 23. You're going to have him for the next decade, as long as you don't fuck up his contract or something. Like, that you're locked up at that position. So, continue to build that defensive identity, which they definitely have. And Vrabel just seems like the right coach to continue them in the right direction. Definitely defensively. And if you keep Josh McDaniels, which it seems like they are going to, then you feel great on the offensive side of the ball too when he's calling the plays. For the Seahawks, obviously, you feel great. To talk about the winners here, the defense played absolutely lights out. Through 3 quarters, they had a shutout. It was 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. The Pats defense played really well too, because they were holding them to field goals, and that's why Jason Myers was in MVP conversations, because he was the only one scoring points for the Seahawks. So there was a time where people were like, okay, the kicker might win MVP here, which is just bonkers. But obviously, Kenneth Walker did his thing. We knew, I'm pretty sure I said, pretty sure I said that Kenneth Walker was going to win MVP. We knew that the team that ran the ball better was going to win the game. We talked about that last week, and that's exactly what happened. He had just some incredible runs. He was contacted behind the line of scrimmage on like 15 out of his 27 runs or something like that, and still produced more yards offensively than than the Pats had on the ground. And then you have another stat that I saw is Drake May actually ended the game. I believe he had more passing yards than Sam Darnold. Darnold couldn't have had that many, because Drake May had 295 in the game and 2 touchdowns. So on paper, pretty decent game. 235 of those passing yards came in the fourth quarter.
Whoa, yeah, that came,
which is the most in Super Bowl history in a fourth quarter. Was it enough?
Was like,
no.
That felt like, at that point, that felt like Seattle just giving them what they wanted to give them. Like, those 200 yards were not as well deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, it felt like them loosening up and playing the game differently when with a lead late, and playing a little I guess you'd say a little more conservatively, and just allowing a little bit more, because I felt like they were comfortable doing that. But also, you had the touchdown drive. That the first touchdown drive honestly didn't feel that way. Because
when
it was
that? Like the late end of the third quarter, right?
The Mac Hollins. Yeah, no, it was in the fourth quarter. There was probably 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Mac Hollins caught
fourth.
Yeah, like Drake May layered a pass over the defender.
That was the only good throw he made all night.
That and was then the only the touchdown throw on the next play.
That was that not the touchdown throw?
No, there was one like in the middle of the field. That was like, there was like 4 defenders around Mac Hollins, and he just like whoosh, right over the top, and it was like perfect.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
You're right. And then 2 good throws all game. You're right.
and then the touchdown on the next play. Um, so that didn't feel like the Seahawks were letting them have it. Um, so at that point was when we you guys all in the room because we were watching it together. Everyone stood up and was like, "Oh snap! Here we go. We got a chance."
Yeah, because it
Trying to
became
have some hope.
19-7 at that point, so it was
Right,
only
and
a
that was
two-score game.
right. Yep.
And they had the momentum, and they got the ball back. The defense was playing. By the way, that defense was a Super Bowl winning defense for the Patriots. It's no problems whatsoever on the defensive side of the ball. Even with as good of a night as Walker had, I still thought overall like the defense played pretty well. There were a
Yeah.
lot of runs where he could only get like a couple yards or 3 yards or so or whatever. But then obviously he had a few breakout runs, but against a team like Seattle and running back like Kenneth Walker, that's the best you're gonna do. And I thought they played that game defensively as well as they could have. The reason why we lost that game is all on the offense. It's honestly, I like to put blame on Drake May and Will Campbell, but even outside of them, there were other problems as well. The receiving core didn't play too great. Honestly, Mac Hollins looked like the best one out there.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't run the ball. Stevenson was nowhere to be found. But I attribute that more to the line, but still Stevenson, I don't know. I feel like he could have done a better job. Same thing with Henderson. Um, and most importantly, the fucking coaching. I thought the offensive coaching for some with the amount of experience that the Patriots had compared to the Seahawks, you would have thought that was gonna be like if we were gonna win that game, it was gonna be we had to run the ball, and then beforehand you had to think like that had to be the big advantage that we had. Like we have Mike Vrabel, who has been a successful coach for a bit now. He has made conference games, and then we had McDaniels on the offensive side of the ball, where this guy has literally been to like 10 Super Bowls now as a coordinator. And going into the game, you would think that, oh, well, the Pats have a clear offensive coaching advantage from that standpoint, as opposed to Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak, who are kind of new to the big game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that did not show up one bit. I feel like first half, okay, that first half ends, right? But then you come out second half and you do the same exact thing, and the offense couldn't do anything, and I feel like there was no scheme up. There was no like legitimate backup plan for this scenario, which was going into the game like so many people thought would happen. Like, how do you not have a backup plan?
Yeah.
Like they were four rush and 4-man rush from Seattle, which caused our run game to be shit because they were breaking through our line with 4 people, and then you had 6 or 7 dudes drop back in coverage, so every
Mm-hmm.
receiver is double teamed, and at that
Mm-hmm.
point, like, there's nothing you're able to do to stop to do anything against the defense. And my thing is, at least when it comes to mind, what's the best way to start to get a defensive line tired? Is like, I don't know, like maybe going for like a hurry up offense, or like, getting plays off quick. But for 3 quarters, I thought they were slow at getting the plays in. They were taking their time. They were letting Seattle's defense just stay healthy and energized all game. And late until the 4th quarter, Drake May finally decides to throw some good balls. And it's like, where, like, I don't know. I feel like there was so many problems with this game on the offensive side of the ball. and everybody is to blame.
Yeah. I think Vrabel said it best is that there was no player that played well enough to deserve to win that game.
I see. I
Only
think
only
defensively,
one, Gonzo,
yeah.
is the
I was just
only
gonna say
person who really felt like he was laying it
he was
all
the
out on
only
the field.
difference maker.
100%. And he had some incredible acrobatic plays to defend passes and stop things early on in the game
Mhm.
to keep them in it, keep things interesting. But when you talk about the offensive side of the ball, you know, the offensive line played horribly. And when Drake May was pressured, he didn't look great. He didn't look like he
No,
had composure under pressure. Receivers couldn't get open. The run game wasn't there. Like you said, every single little glimmer of something that you were trying to find on the offense, just it wasn't there. It just wasn't. Um, so it was really not a recipe for success. So what are
I
you
know
gonna do?
that the as a consensus, I feel like most people are saying the biggest reason why we lost that game is because of the offensive line, especially the left side.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think Will Campbell had the worst postseason by any left tackle ever. Um, but I don't know, man, because like I obviously a lot of the problems were because of that, but at the same time, like I want to put blame on Drake May too because when I watched the game, he just held on to the ball way too long and
Yeah,
he
there were
wasn't
moments.
moving
Yeah.
around in the pocket.
hmm I
He
remember
wasn't
I
moving
remember you
around. He
guys
didn't take
yelling
off
at the
with the ball
TV
much
like,
either.
yeah, like get the ball off. I remember being yelled multiple times like throw it away. Like get it out of at least get it out of your hands. Like you can't take a sack. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah,
Like
he
dude
didn't
has
handle
been
the
he's
pressure
been
well.
taken off all year. He's been using his legs so well and using them at the right time.
In Denver, he did it.
Denver, he did it. Yeah, I mean, not the whole game, but at least towards the end to give him a chance to win, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but this game, like he had maybe like one or two plays where he actually took the ball, held the ball, and took it off and ran, and that was like one of the few drives where we actually drove the ball downfield.
Yeah, and there was one that he was running and he slid like pretty early, I feel like. And one of our friends we were watching the game with was like, "Dude, you're down by 20 something points in the Super Bowl. Why are you sliding? Like you should be putting it all on the line and diving forward. Like it's not like you're trying to protect yourself so you can play next week." And I mean, you're probably just in such muscle memory at that point that you're like, okay, I'm gonna slide, live to play another down, all this stuff, and you don't want
Yeah.
to fumble. That's another part of it. But I do also get the sentiment of like, dog, you got to turn into Josh Allen right now. I know that's a different, he's a different player, but like you got to play like that to put the team on your back and like, dude, you just got to go forward. And I don't know, it was just like it did feel like he was a little bit scared or hesitant to use his legs as much as he should have, or as much as he normally would. And I'm not sure
Mhm.
why that was. Maybe just because the defense was flying around so much that he didn't even feel like he had the space to do that. If he tried, I don't know. Because
I don't know, because
we.
when he tried, it was there. It was just him not even giving the effort. But when he did run with the ball, he was having that was the only or one of the only successful things I would say on their offense that looked like it could have been there.
Mhm.
But it looked like he was just scared, like because he was getting hit and the that defensive line was breaking through so fast that it looked like he didn't even like have the right reads in his mind. You know what I mean? Like he was like, "Oh, I gotta keep my eyes downfield the whole time because it's not gonna be there." But it was. I don't know.
Mhm. It's tough because we don't necessarily see everything that he sees on the broadcast camera angle. It does not show like the downfield, so you don't know if everyone's covered or not, like what he's seeing in the defense. Um, so honestly, it might be worth a rewatch with the all 22 film just to be like, hey, what really happened here? Um, but
Oh,
obviously,
I'll say this, Ryan. There a lot of the plays there was not anything there. There was not a lot of place times
yeah,
for him
yeah,
to
open
throw the ball.
receivers. Oh, I 100%
They
believe
were
that.
they were
Yeah,
they were blanketed almost the whole game.
yeah.
But there were still instances where there were wide open receivers and he missed the throws, which is something that again he hasn't been doing all season.
hmm
The
there
postseason he has
was
though.
a drop or two,
There
right?
was a drop
There was the Hunter Henry ball that was like kind of behind him, but it did
that was behind him, right? But
hit his hands,
you're
and
right.
then
That one's
the
on both of
defender
them,
dropped it as well.
right?
But yeah, it just seems like bad communication. Like those are plays that they're hitting on during the season against lesser teams. And also when you get to the Super Bowl and you get to this level, you got to have every little detail ironed out. You cannot be missing plays like that. There were a
Yeah,
couple that were just very, very close. And close doesn't get you a ring. You got to be perfect on basically every play. And honestly, the biggest thing as well is the turnover battle. Drake May
yeah.
fumbled one, and and then he threw two
Two
interceptions.
interceptions.
One of them was kind of like, it was an interception, but he was getting tackled while he was throwing it, and then it got picked off. So it was like a fumbleception, if you can call it that.
Yeah,
He's getting sacked and trying to get it away, but that's not an excuse at all.
that was no
But and then
excuse.
you have Sam Darnold not
No
even really
turnovers.
not putting the team on his back, but he just didn't turn the ball over, and he let
He
the
didn't
defense
lose.
do what
He's
they've
smart.
done.
He knew that all he had to do was go in there and not fuck it up, and they were gonna
Yep,
win because they
yep.
were so. The whole story of this year is that, in my opinion, after this crazy ass year, is that Seattle was the best team, and then everybody else in the NFL was kind of like a whole peg below them, and Seattle really ended up really became true, like especially in the postseason. Like good
Mhm.
for them. But and credit to Darnold for being aware enough of himself and of his team and having faith and knowing that, hey, like all I gotta do going into this game is not fuck up, and I'm getting a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, and then credit to actually executing on that and not not fucking up, because there were a couple close ones too.
There were, yeah,
There was a ball very early. It was like on the first drive that was nearly picked by
yeah,
Marcus Jones. Um, and I was thinking, I think I said it out loud too, was like, man, he's gonna throw a pick because he
yeah,
was throwing them so close. They were some very dangerous passes that he was throwing there. Um, so I thought that it was gonna happen at some point, but obviously he powered through it and stayed interception free the whole time. So that was what he needed to do. And then they ran the ball really well and defense played lights out. So that's the
yeah.
recipe for success. That's how you win
And
Super Bowls.
I don't even think, like, to be honest with you, I thought they ran the ball well, but like I didn't even think that was like fantastic. Like I don't know. Like there were a lot of times where the Pats really like stiffened down on the run. And
Yeah.
then obviously Walker broke out for a couple big runs in that game. And he still ended up with over 100 yards, but I feel like that was more like usage and just I don't know, creating different weight packages for
No,
him.
that was just him being nasty. And I mean,
See, I
he had the
disagree.
blocking. There were a couple that he had the blocking, and then there were some, the one on the left side to the outside, He broke a couple tackles, stayed in bounds, tiptoed on the sideline. Like, he was showing his athleticism, and his patience was really on display in the Super Bowl, because there were at times where Chris Collinsworth was comparing him to Le'Veon Bell because of the way that he was running and just sort of like walking, looking, finding the hole, and then just shooting through that gap. He like That's a skill. It's not. There are runners that have skill when it comes to just juking people out, or they're super fast or whatever, but being patient and finding the hole and knowing where to go is a skill in and of itself. And that was the thing that really like shined through with Kenneth Walker, I feel like, during the Super Bowl there. And then obviously he still has incredible athleticism too, and he's just tough to bring down. And yes, you're right that he didn't score. He never scored a touchdown, so that was, I think, a signifier of like, okay, they were running the ball well, but like the Pats, when it mattered, they didn't let the run beat them. Like when they got into the red zone, the only offensive touchdown was a play action off of that run to AJ Barner. So the Pats were playing the run well because they were giving so much attention to it, and then it came to bite them on the one touchdown pass there from Sam Darnold.
I feel like at that point in the game too, a lot of that was fatigue because the
Yeah.
defense was just go back out there. Offense is a 3-and-out punt.
Yep.
Offense punt again, and by that time, like obviously, like I expected the defense to break, and I don't blame them. Like there's only so much you can't hold off a team like that. You can only do so much for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that like honestly, they let the Seattle score like 19 points because you have the 7 that came off of the fumble recovery, right, or the turnover or
Yeah.
whatever it was. So that I feel like that's phenomenal. Like on the defense's part, like if the offense was at least 50%
No.
coherent,
Yeah.
the defense did
Yeah.
enough for us to win that game.
Yeah. Like really, if there had been one or two scoring drives from the Pats early in the game, I think it totally changes the game entirely, because
Yeah,
you
I
you
agree
put
as
more
well.
pressure you put more pressure on the Seahawks because you feel like the game's closer. And obviously the result might not have changed, but you got to score early in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you really do.
Teams that have not scored in the first half of a Super Bowl are 0 and
They've never
15.
won. Yeah, they've never won.
No team that has scored 0 points in the first half has ever won the Super Bowl. So obviously, it's not it's not an understatement to say that you got to score early and you got to score often. But yeah, the defense really did play well. They only allowed 22 points because it was 29. Take away the 7 from the touchdown, was 22, and they only allowed one touchdown, and everything else was field goal drives. So when they they would give up some chunk plays. You think of even that Kenneth Walker drive where he ripped off 2 big runs. That was it, and then everything else was done. There was nothing else to go off of, and you feel pretty confident with the way your defense is playing, but the offense just didn't help them out, man. They did no favors for him. So
Well, I was gonna say something, I forgot. Damn it! I had it in my mind, and it was a good point. Hopefully, it comes back to me.
So this raises the question: is Cooper Kupp a Hall of Famer at this point?
To
2
be
Super
honest,
Bowl
I
rings,
I think he is. I think he is. The
Triple
Triple Crown
Crown,
is no. That's no. Even
Super
without
Bowl
the Super Bowl,
MVP, Super Bowl
right?
MVP. Obviously, a ring from that one. The Super Bowl MVP to cap the Triple Crown season. And then obviously going to Seattle, where it wasn't like his show, but he was a contributor on a
Oh, he was
championship
the
team,
leading receiver of the game, was
and
he? Or
um
did Mac end up beating
on
him out?
both teams, I'm not sure, but
But for the
definitely for
Seattle,
Seattle,
definitely. Yeah.
absolutely.
I personally thought Cooper Cup was a Hall of Famer
Even
even
before,
before this run.
yeah, he should be.
I think so. I mean, he's done more than what most receivers can hope and dream of doing in their careers. So, I mean, you gotta put him in there at some point.
Yeah, 100%. I also, Clint Kubiak, the OC for Seattle, is the Raiders' new head coach.
Raiders head coach. Yep, sign him to a 5-year deal.
Well, that's smart.
We know how that usually goes.
It was Mac Hollins was the leading receiver on the
Of
whole
the game,
game.
right? Yeah.
Um, Cooper Cup had 61 yards. Mac Hollins had 78, but most of that was on those two receptions.
Right.
Those two big receptions on that one drive.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there it is. Also, JSN completely disappeared, which is sucks.
Yeah,
Sucks to
left the
see.
game
'Cause I
for
like that
a
guy.
good portion. Um, yeah, Seattle won this game because of their defensive line, man. That is a Super Bowl winning defensive line. That is the kind of defensive line you will often see when you get to this point of the season. So many teams with lines like that you see dominate Super Bowls and win those games. And when you have your fourth or fifth guy on the depth chart come away with 2 sacks, a forced fumble, that's no laughing matter, and that's the scariest thing for me if I'm an NFC West fan is that a lot of those players aren't going anywhere on that defensive side of the ball anytime soon. Like Derek Hall is young, um, and again he's like your third or fourth guy on that team, and there's a argument you could have made for him being Super Bowl MVP. It
Who
was
is that?
between Walker and Hall, in my opinion.
Yeah. Also, Devon Witherspoon too played really well.
Devon Witherspoon had a great game, and he's such a good run tackle cornerback.
Absolutely not afraid to come up and make a tackle.
He's amazing at just getting to the quarterback and on these blitz packages.
So there you have it. There's our Super Bowl recap. Anything else you want to talk about, Tony? I think we can maybe call this one a little early.
Why are the plumbers here?
Yeah.
I knew it because you were like all of a sudden you were like, yeah, no,
Yeah, but I mean, this is also we're recapping just one game here.
no, we're good.
Is there much else
I'm
to talk about?
not really. I was just gonna shit on Drake May and Will Campbell, and that's
You could
about
do
it.
that. You could do that.
I mean, all you really need to know is that they both played awful. Well, Drake May had the worst postseason of any quarterback like I might have ever seen, and I'm just being so honest with you. There is no excuse. You can't blame the fact that he played great defenses. That's no excuse, because if you expect to go into make playoff runs every year and people are saying, oh, they'll be back, well, then when they're back next year, they're going to be playing teams like that again in the postseason with defenses like that. So he's lucky with the stinkers he put up that they made it that far. And I'm happy that he's young, so hopefully he can learn and just move on. Unlike a lot of these other quarterbacks who are a lot of the times they play like that, they're one and done in the playoffs. I'm happy he got 4 games experience out of it. But that's still no excuse. He played awful. Awful. Missed throws, 3 turnovers, turnovers are still a problem for this man. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. We're going into year 3, and he still turns the ball over way too much for my liking. And yeah, Josh Allen ain't going anywhere. Josh Allen's still in your division.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be so honest with you. Josh Allen is the better quarterback. Way better.
Shit, dog.
So an MVP candidacy is not enough for me to say you are better than Josh Allen. You're not. Josh Allen is a freak of nature who will, you put him on a lot of other teams, he would destroy you. And luckily, he's only on the Bills as of now, and their franchise ain't doing too hot. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still Josh Allen, and they're still going to be competing for the division. So good luck next year. You're not going to have an easy schedule. Your schedule is tough as hell. So you really need to improve your roster. And Will Campbell is staying at left tackle also, by the way, they announced. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I think he's an awful left tackle. I don't think he'll ever be good at this point. He's just
Wasn't he a
too
guard though
small.
in college?
No, he played left tackle, but he was
Oh.
able to get away with it in college, obviously. But I just don't think, and so far I've been right, but I don't
I
think
mean,
going forward he's gonna do too well at that position. I
couldn't.
think they need to move him to guard.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could play guard. I feel like he'd be a lot better.
I think
Lot better
he would be nasty as a guard.
Yeah.
I think he would be nasty as a guard, but no,
And
for some reason Vrabel came out and said today, like, he's our left tackle. We're sticking with him for next year.
yeah, I mean, there were games. I mean, he had good games this year where you felt good about it,
He
but he
did.
had some really bad ones, and
He
definitely the
did.
playoffs. And he was coming back from injury, if
He
I'm not
had one
mistaken.
of the worst playoffs from a left tackle ever.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. He
And
was
that's your
god awful.
blind side on your quarterback. So that's the most important position on the offensive line is
Absolutely.
your blind side tackle. So you want to make sure that guy's pretty solid. If you have any doubts at all, I would move him to left guard. But then I feel like, who's the backup? Who's taking the spot then? And if you don't feel confident about that guy, then it's like, okay, we have to stay with Campbell.
Right.
Right.
And the Pats are in a shitty position because you have Jared Wilson, who was your left guard, who's also a rookie, who I thought played pretty well. Besides that Super Bowl, you had some
He did
plays
give
where
up
he
a
played,
sack.
yeah. But overall, he played pretty well. Where it's like, well, if you move Will Campbell to left guard now, you're gonna get rid of Wilson, who
Yeah.
was like, like, he only had his one year and his one shot, sort of say, and I liked him overall. I mean, I don't know. It's just a tough position. Obviously, they're keeping Will Campbell, and so we know that. And people are going into next year like, oh, let's fix the offensive line and we'll be good. Well, it's like, well, if we're not moving on from Will Campbell, there's going to be really no major changes on the offensive line because the right
Yeah.
side is fine. Bradbury, Moses, and I forget the other guy's name. They're all fine. So you can't really improve much on there. And then if you're not going to get rid of Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, then you're going into next year with the same line. There's going to be no changes. So you're at that point just hoping that experience will be enough to improve that line drastically, and I don't think for that left side, I don't think so. I just don't think you can coach an experience arm length for Will Campbell.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and in practice, you can only simulate so much until you're up against Leonard Williams or DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, that's not simulatable in practice. When the Pats edge rushers are fucking Kevon chase on. He's not DeMarcus Lawrence. Sorry, but he's
That's
not.
the
So
only bad thing about our defense is that we need a pass rusher, like an edge rusher. I would like to see him
I
sign
agree.
someone like maybe like Max Crosby or something. I don't know if he's available.
That would be insane.
Yeah, I
I
mean
feel
they
like
have
they
the cap
really,
space for it.
yeah, I feel like they're really missing Matt Judon. He was good
Yeah,
for them.
most definitely.
Those
Right,
were some good days. Pat's days with
right.
Matt Judon. He was good. But I think he sucks now. So
Oh yeah, he's awful now. He's too old.
yeah, he's on the Falcons or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we know what we got to change for next season and go back to the drawing board.
Yep, and hopefully they do make some changes. But yeah.
Gonna have to. And then the Seahawks have kind of the opposite problem. It's like, okay, now you got to pay Kenneth Walker. Now you're gonna have to pay all these guys that are gonna. I don't know how many free agents they have like coming up, but when you win a Super Bowl, everybody becomes real expensive real quick
Yeah.
because they all had a part in that. So they all feel like really good players. And it's like, who's the guy? Riley, the white guy that had a sack in the Super Bowl. He's gonna probably get paid way more than he really deserves somewhere else because, well, I had a sack in the Super Bowl, so give me that money. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams change and really how everything changes in the offseason.
Riley
And
Mills.
Riley Mills, that's who it is. Yeah. I knew it was Riley something. Um, but yeah, we will be keeping up with all the offseason moves when it comes to free agency and offseason trades, the draft, everything like that. We're gonna have episodes on this podcast updating all those things. So we will cover the Pats and Seahawks both in that regard, probably following the Pats a little more closely. But yeah, guys, make sure to stay tuned. Thanks to our one viewer who is
It's not me this time. I haven't been on.
okay. Thank
Thanks
you
to
to
our
our
one
one viewer
viewer.
then.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Sir or ma'am. Now we have
Or
two.
ma'am.
And
You're right.
we're signing off. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will be continuing our off-season coverage. So stay tuned. Love you guys so much. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.